Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. Are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome back to Big Mouth, and you can continue this and any other conversation I ignite over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad and on my Instagram, Big Mouth. Now, a few weeks ago, I announced on here, I did a video saying I'm now a member of the fandom Menace. I joined the fandom Menace. I watched many videos, many YouTubers, or should I call them Pied Pipers, and I started to fall for their blarney. I am now giving back my pass to the fandom Menace, and this is why. There are many people who are part of that movement who are brilliant people, who make a lot of logical sense. But unfortunately, I have discovered in the past few weeks too much bullying, too much aggression. And last night, I had an incident with Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, the guy that I'm always talking up on here. I've done videos about him. I've said he's done a great job. I said that I've enjoyed his videos. In fact, he partly inspired me to start up this channel, but he decided to attack me because Star Wars Girl for Life accused me of trolling her, and that's not what I did. Basically, she said, is Batwoman a good show? I said, why don't you find out for yourself? And she started saying crap like, oh, I know that you're trolling me and you don't like me, out of nowhere. And I followed her and I thought she's awesome. And it all kicked off. I reacted badly. Jeremy got involved. We got into it a little bit. Then he got bored of me because I don't have enough followers, wasn't giving him enough traction. So he went and started bullying somebody else. So I don't really want to be involved with people like that. I've already unsubscribed from his YouTube channel and his Twitter. I will not block him because that's how they think they win. They quote, they basically screenshot you, start quoting you. He was talking a load of crap. Very disappointing. But you know what? It's great that people that you look up to reveal themselves to you because in the end you wake up. And I'm starting to wake up to the fandom Menace for what they are. As I say, there's some logical stuff that some of them say. But at the end of the day, ultimately, they are a bunch of right-wingers. They are a bunch of Trump supporters. And they don't like female leads. And at the end of the day, I don't really want to be involved with that kind of narrative. As I say, when they say things that I think are logical, I will agree with them. Some of the narrative that they are pushing is right. But a lot of it is repetitive, and they are beginning to look tired. Now, J.J. Abrams has been talking. Now, this is very interesting and connected to what I've said at the beginning of this video. So I hope you're keeping up. J.J. Abrams says new Star Wars won't play it safe like Force Awakens, thanks to Rian Johnson. This is a dagger into the heart of the fandom Menace, and this is absolutely hilarious. And I'm going to tell you why after I read this article. After Rian Johnson delivered one of the most polarizing Star Wars movies to date, with 2017's The Last Jedi, it's not too surprising Lucasfilm re-teamed with the Force Awakens filmmaker J.J. Abrams to close out the new trilogy and the entire 9-film Skywalker saga with Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker. Abrams' Force Awakens was beloved. Nostalgia trip that grossed $936 million in the US, which is astronomical, isn't it? Still the highest-grossing domestic release in history, while Johnson's Last Jedi was a more challenging vision that showed little interest in paying off popular fan expectations. Now, that's when I kind of go with the fandom Menace on this one. It wasn't about going with fan expectation. JJ gave us a lot of threads that we assumed would be kind of not sewn up, but continued in kind of a few explanations here and there, and then we could have had them all sewn up in the Rise of Skywalker. The problem, and this is what I said, the real problem isn't Rian Johnson. I have no issues with Rian Johnson. And this is, again, where the fandom Menace get it wrong. They've attacked him. They called him Big Head. It's absolute nonsense. And he's had to come out and stick up for himself. Because when you attack someone's physicality and you go personal at them because you didn't like the kind of film that they did, that's where it's wrong. Rian Johnson could only be Rian Johnson. The fault with The Last Jedi doesn't lie with Rian. It lies with Kathleen Kennedy and JJ. JJ should have wrote and directed all three of these movies, and there wouldn't have been a problem. Some Star Wars fans have wondered if bringing Abrams back means Rise of Skywalker will play it safe. But the director tells Total Film via 09 that's not the case. In episode 7, I was adhering to the kind of approach that felt right to Star Wars in my head. Abrams tells the magazine it was about finding a visual language, like shooting on locations and doing practical things as much as possible. And we continue that in episode 9. But I also found myself doing things that I'm not sure I would have been as daring to do on episode 7. Now, this is interesting. This is really interesting because I think what happened with The Force Awakens, he was told by Disney to play it safe. I think that's the thing. I don't think he's a play it safe kind of guy. I just think he was told, the fans hated George over the prequels. Let's not involve George. Let's try and bring some nostalgia back from episode 4, A New Hope, and try and bring the fans in. And I think he did what they wanted, and he pulled it off, and that's why the film made so much money. Abrams credits the storytelling risk of Johnson's The Last Jedi for helping show him the need to continue to be bold in The Rise of Skywalker. As Abrams puts it, Ryan helped remind me that's why we're on these movies, not just to do something that you've seen before. I won't say that I felt constrained or limited on 7, but I found myself wanting to do something that felt more consistent with the original trilogy than not. Abrams concluded, and on 9 I found myself feeling like I just gonna go for it a bit more. Yes, because he was given freedom with 9. And this is very interesting because I genuinely feel that Star Wars The Last Jedi was a very underwhelming film. I think Ryan did a great job, but his thematical and I think his storytelling wasn't for me, certainly. And although there were big twists in this film, the twists actually took us to a place of underwhelmment and mediocrity. That's my personal opinion on what he did. While Johnson has been at the centre of backlash for well over a year, thanks to his divisive The Last Jedi script, Abrams has long maintained that Johnson's Star Wars movie fit as needed into the larger story first started in The Force Awakens. In other words, Johnson didn't simply make a radical storytelling choices for the hell of it, just to screw with fans. The story that we started to conceive when we did The Force Awakens was allowed to continue. Abrams told the Associated Press earlier this week. Episode 9 didn't really derail. The Last Jedi didn't really derail anything that we were thinking about. Disney's opening Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker in theatres nationwide December the 20th. Well, it's a very short but a very, very interesting article. J.J. Abrams, is playing with you people who are part of the fandom menace. For 2 years now, you've had it all your own way. You've been doing your videos, people like Geeks and Gamers, comic book artist Pro Secrets, Ethan Van Sciver, world-class bullshitters. I can go on and on. For 2 years now, they've had it their own way, and they've been able to put their narrative out there, their anger towards The Last Jedi. But now we're getting to a situation. Now, J.J. Abrams doesn't really get involved with flops. Even if you don't like his films do make money. And he's got history on his side. He's done things that have been successful. And at the end of the day, he's back with Chris Terrio to finish this off. And what he's saying here, he's trying to wind up the fandom menace. If you think JJ doesn't know that all the videos saying that his film's going to be a mess, that his film's going to be a flop, that there's 3 cuts, 4 cuts, 6 cuts, right? That they've gone back to reshoot 70% of the movie. And I thought these things were true. But you know what? Let's get this straight. Every film has multiple cuts. It's standard practice. So when Doomcock came out and said there's 3 cuts, there's the Iger cut, there's this cut, there's that cut. Yes, there probably is. There probably is. But that is no surprise. These things happen. This is the process of filmmaking. And people who come out and leak this stuff, it's like they're being led into this. That's what I'm saying. J.J. Abrams is leading the fandom menace to dive sky high into a freezing cold lake where they end up freezing their balls. He's doing this on purpose. And I'm going to go further. Not only did he do this interview to trick the fandom menace into doing more videos about him to make it look like he doesn't know what he's doing. I believe the Reddit leaks come from JJ and Disney and Lucasfilm themselves. Why? Why? Because he knows. He knows what the fandom menace are. The successful YouTubers like Jeremy world-class bullshitters, and I can go on. These people can't resist it now, because once you get popular, you get big-headed and you get arrogant. And he knows, JJ Disney and Lucasfilm know full well that they're going to keep on making videos and making big, bold claims so they can keep on making money on their channels and off their subscribers. But they know, the people running these channels know it's all panto. Of course they do. Of course they do. Probably half of them are not even Star Wars fans. But J.J. Abrams is leading them. Now, it's very interesting because I did start watching about 5 minutes of a Geeks and Gamers video. And it was Jeremy on there. And I could tell he was already backtracking on Doomcock's claims. And this is really interesting. And he was trying to be funny about this source and that source. Listen, I don't have any sources, personal sources on this. But the word on the ground is that The Rise of Skywalker is one of the best Star Wars movies ever made. And it actually sews everything together from The Force Awakens to The Last Jedi. That's what I'm hearing. I am not hearing this is a bad movie. I'm not hearing there's tensions on the set. We got kind of something on Midnight's Edge, kind of trying to allude to that. But they're all kind of working off false assumptions. False assumptions that Disney have led them to. Because they've been going for Disney for 2 years. And multi-trillion Fortune 500 companies don't let you get away with it forever. The fandom menace have made a hell of a lot of money off of slaughtering this company and this franchise. And now they're going to get some back. I think The Rise of Skywalker will finally see the destruction of the fandom menace. And there'll be so many pieces of them around, they'll never be able to put themselves back together.